Hello guys and welcome. My name is Dr. Peter. I'm a member of the Optimal Generics class and I'll be your invisible guide through medical school. In this part of this video, we're going to be discussing pathology. If you've not seen the first part where we discussed pharmacology and the introduction generally to 400 level, I suggest you take a look at that part. Pathology has three core postings in 400 level. Introduction to pathology, block 1 pathology and block 2 pathology. Pathology postings are usually the introduction to pathology is an 8 weeks posting. Block 1 pathology is a 6 weeks posting, and block 2 pathology is a 6 weeks posting as well. The timeline might change, but this is how the arrangement is usually. Now, in introduction to pathology, you are going to is an 8-week posting. It's quite long and it's a little bit hectic because from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day there is going to be lectures. Pathology lecturers will come to class. I guarantee you. And at this point, at this point of 400 level, I can tell you that attendance becomes a big deal. It becomes a big deal for two reasons. The sheer work of pathology, the sheer volume of pathology is much. So coming to class and just listening to the audio part of the lecture becomes an important learning modality that you don't want to throw aside carelessly. Secondly, the 75% attendance required for exam most likely will be taken seriously. So you should also take the attendance part of the exam seriously and not just be in class. Make sure you put your name in the attendance booklet. So that's very important. Fortunately, there is still timetable for pathology. So the list of all the topics you are going to be taking in every posting will be reflected in the timetable. Pathology is divided into 4 parts: microbiology, hematology, chemical pathology, and morbid anatomy. These 4 parts constitutes pathology. Now, your aggregate to decide if you've passed pathology or not will be an average of these 4. Off the bat, morbid anatomy is the most bulky of the 4, and then the rest accordingly. I'm saying this so that you don't invest all your time in morbid anatomy and neglect chemical pathology, hematology, or microbiology. So it's very important that you have this at the back of your mind. Now, for your 8 weeks of introduction to pathology, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. there will be classes, and then from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. there will be practicals. Students have a habit of skipping the practical classes, and the lecturer sometimes will use the attendance of the practical classes to even determine who will attend lecture or worst of who will take the exam. So by the time you see that you're working from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day, the hassle of the work becomes significant with just an hour break thereabout. So it becomes a significant amount of work. What is going to make the difference in pathology is not crash reading. Because of the sheer volume of the work, crash reading will not be a go-to. So the daily grind in 400 level becomes the most important component of your preparation. The daily grind becomes the most important component of your preparation. Now, these are the hacks. All this information were the formal information. Now, these are the hacks, these are the tricks that you go about it. Now, having a list of the topic is good. Having a list of the questions that have come out in the past 5 years in all the 4 departments that make up pathology is best. Because diseases are not changing. The pathology of the human body is not evolving. So, and common things occur commonly. What is being asked, what is most important, is what is going to be repeatedly, recurrently asked in the exam. It's almost predictable. The 4 questions that will come out in Morbid, the 4 questions that will come out, you understand? So it's easy to predict them if you look carefully at, the past questions and answers, the past questions, and then you find answers to them from your materials. Let me also tell you that the need for textbook in pathology might not be so strong because your lecturers are going to give you adequate materials that would actually suffice for your understanding and your knowledge, and they will be in class every day to address the questions that you might be having. I want to also say, let me single out chemical pathology for one moment. Chem part has 2 parts. There is the traditional chem part, and then there is a small branch of chemical pathology which is the immunology part. In the exams, usually in chemical pathology, you might have 7 questions, and 2 questions of that 7, 30%, will be immunology questions. And I can tell you that the volume of immunology is smaller. So investing your time in studying immunology becomes a very interesting thing, because you can almost predict the 2 questions that will come out in your exam, and then you can ignore one of. So 7 questions to answer 6. You can easily pinpoint the 2 that will be coming out in immunology, and then the 4 of chemical pathology. You can go into it with all the goodwill of men. Now, I also want to tell you that there is a very beautiful book of microbiology called Microbiology Made Ridiculously Simple. I'm picking that out because virology is a very important component of your microbiology in introduction to pathology generally. So the virology part of Microbiology Made Ridiculously Simple is very, very easy to understand. It will make you understand and make you pass the virology part of the exam flawlessly. So you should be aware of that also. Another part of microbiology where you might need help also is mycology, study of fungi. And an alumnus of ILOMSA who has done a very significant contribution to our learning process is Dr. Duru Chinedu, who has prepared a very beautiful typed written notes in mycology. And not just that, he also made contribution in several places, including pediatrics and pharmacology even. So get your hands on Duru Chinedu's collection of mycology and study it for your microbiology. Now, every practical, let's go towards the exam now. Every practical class that you're going to be taking in Introduction to Pathology in these 8 weeks will not be assessed at the end of the 8 weeks. You are doing them because in your block 2 posting, that is when there will be a practical part of the exam. So all the practical classes you'll be taking now is an investment for the future. I just want you to be aware of that so that you have a very good perspective of the attention and the documentation, and you carefully write what you are learning in the practicals and keep them for future purposes. Also, Dr. Duru Chinedu and Dr. Bumi and Dr. Fado have also prepared a very beautiful collection of practical notes and guides that can help you with your practicals, all 4 parts of the pathology. So it's something you should have at the back of your mind when you're going to practical classes, that some people have already prepared very beautiful notes for you for practicals. Now, for the exams proper, the exams will be 2 papers are going to be taken a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and then 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon the next day. So making 4 papers. So you'll be taking 2 papers per day. Usually it is chemical pathology with morbid anatomy, and then hematology and microbiology. That's how it's taken. As I told you, you're going to have to predict the questions significantly by studying past questions. With that, you can be rest assured of the essay part of the exam. You can significantly predict a huge proportion of the essay part of the exam. Let me also tell you now that hematology in particular is interesting, because the second part of course, now that there will be a multiple choice section of the exam and there will be an essay part of the exam. And I should tell you that these 2 parts of the exam will be written in 45 minutes each. So 45 minutes for your essay and 45 minutes for your multiple choice section of the exam. The multiple choice section of the exam for hematology has 2 parts. There is the part where you'll be doing your objective, and then there's a part called the matching. The matching is similar to the matching in pharmacology. But the point here is, because of the sheer volume of the multiple choice question in hematology, it is more advisable to start from the matching during the exams. I hope you will remember this when the exam comes, that you should start with the matching segment of hematology. It is easier, it is smaller in volume, and you can easily do that and then go to the first session of hematology exam and then go through it. I want you to remember this when the time comes for the exam, because you can easily rush with the crowd and just start with session A. For hematology multiple choice question, start with matching. I hope that is clear beyond any doubt. Start with the matching. Now, generally for the exams, you have 45 minutes. Having a preformed outline for every question will be very helpful. That is why it is so much important to look at the past question. There is something I call the weekly review. The weekly review is, as I said, 3 lectures per day for a week. That is 3 lectures for 5 days. That is 15 lectures for every week. By the time you multiply 15 by an 8 weeks period, it becomes a large number of materials to study. So there is no crash reading. Weekly review are the best. If you cannot finish your 3 materials a day, then you keep them for the weekend so that you can at least not carry any knowledge from this week into the next week, because next week you will have its own border in pathology. Now, assuming because of circumstances beyond your control, you could not go through some parts of the material, there is no way you should go into the next week without at least having a review of the questions in the question bank for the past 5 years that have been taught that week. So for example, in the whole of the week, hemostasis was taught, and you need to know the fate of the thrombus because it is a common question that is asked. So in the whole of that week, maybe the most important thing, there are 2 questions, and those 2 questions you must practice them during that week or at least at the weekend, so you at least are ready for every week of the exam. That is the most reliable way to prepare for pathology. I'm saying this because of the sheer volume of pathology in 400 level. By and large, your teachers are going to be coming for the classes, so you can rely significantly. For those of you that are audio learners, for those of you that prefer to learn on your own, there will be enough materials to study. There's no particular recommendation in terms of video lectures here because of the quality of the lectures you'll be receiving, and frankly because there are no lectures of pathology that really meet, there are no online lectures of pathology that really meet the core requirements that you need. I have not found any in my research and in my case while I was studying. So this is a general layout of from pathology. I hope you have a very beautiful posting, and don't forget, as a parting word, morbid anatomy is the most bulky, and I can as well tell you honestly that hematology is the lightest. You need an aggregate of all 4 to have a pass mark. Investing too much time in morbid anatomy would make the other 3 suffer. And even if at the end of the day you have such a high mark in morbid anatomy, the other 3, because you did not pay enough attention to them, you might score low at those points. So if you have 2 courses to study a day, and there's hematology and there's morbid anatomy, it is more advisable to always start with the other course before morbid, because when you start reading it, it's almost likely that you might not finish on time, and then the other course will suffer. I'm saying this out of painful experience and from the experience of a lot of other people. So thank you very much for watching. Share with your classmates and have a wonderful posting.